Up next, we'll move to the keynote, Future Through the Tech Lens, Technology Inflection Point. We'll drive to deliver technological crossroads defining the future landscape, uncovering how these inflection points are shaping industries, driving innovation, and paving the way for a dynamic, interconnected world. Get ready to navigate the evolving tech terrain and envision the possibilities that lie ahead. I would like to welcome Ganesh Sahai, CTO at Nagarro. Ganesh is the global CTO at Nagarro. Ganesh is an IIT IIM alumnus with around 25 years of experience, having worked with companies like Adobe and Oracle. Most recently, he was chosen as one of the 23 of 2023 Tech Pioneers CTO Building the Future of Technology by HRA. He has been an entrepreneur on multiple instances and did multiple ventures. His passion towards technology, innovation, people, business has led to setting up great teams and release of world-class products doing successful businesses. His innovation streak led to filing of 11 patents. He has keen interest in latest developments in technology and businesses environments and sharing to the same various forums and discussions. Please join me in welcoming Ganesh Sahai to the stage.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and thank you for this opportunity. Good to see the whole, energetic Indore crowd. I remember my first visit to Indore was, I think, a couple of decades back. I came for campus hiring from Adobe, and we hired some great talent. And 20 years from then, Indore has come a long way. I think it is one of the fastest growing IT hubs in the country. So wonderful to be back. And we have an office in Indore, by the way. Last year also I was here. To celebrate with the team. So looking forward to grow the office over here. All right, so let's get started. How many of you know this character? All right, great. Anybody can name? Captain Kirk from Star Trek series, right? So what is he holding in his hand? So, okay, I'll be staying here. So, this device was called communicator, right? And when we were growing up as kids, school going, this was a very, popular thing actually, in the sense that people were awed by it, right? That, the astronauts in the Star Trek can talk to each other, with a device, right? That they can carry anywhere, right? And now, today, we are at a stage that we have mobile phones that everybody is carrying. Right? Or everybody in this room would be carrying this thing, right? So we have reached that stage, what we kind of, had, thought of or was a fiction, right? So sometimes, fiction kind of creates a future, and then it's really great to see that future come alive. Am I audible? Yeah, all right, thanks. Okay. So what next? Anything else you recollect from Star Trek? Okay, I'll show you. Tablets, right? So tablets were, kind of, people used to freak out that these kind of, compute devices could be there, but, a lot of us use tablets now, okay? And then there were other things also, like, they used to have telepresence kind of a thing, which is virtual reality concept, right? They had real-time translators, right? So now we have, translation services in multiple languages, right? You can do it. And if you have been tracking, the most recent device that has been introduced in Silicon Valley is called AI Pin, right? Which is similar to, the advanced badges the Star Trek team used to wear, right? So, anyways, I can go on and talking about it. Interplanetary spaceships, right? So, this Enterprise, USS Enterprise, which was their spaceship. So, if you know a company called SpaceX, right, which is an Elon Musk funded company. He's a founder. So they have been building a spaceship called, or a rocket called Starship. Right? Now, what is the mission of Starship? Anybody knows? So, mission of the Starship is to land human beings on Mars by 2030. Right? And they have done 2 flights till now. I mean, both of them were failed, but they are learning, right, how to make it successful. So, and then he sees a world where we will be doing interplanetary movement actually, right? So that kind of thing, maybe few decades down the line will become reality. Teleportation is still a long way to go, right? But there was a time when like transfer of voice from one continent to the other in real time. Nobody thought of that maybe 200 years back, but that became a reality. So we don't know. Maybe teleportation will become a reality, right? If you look at transistor technology, right? From the days of triodes, right? It has miniaturized to the extent of 10 nanometer, 5 nanometer, 3 nanometer, 2 nanometer. And I was reading a Richard Feynman book where he is saying, wouldn't it be nice that if we can store the information of computing in a state of an atom? Now that is the kind of, he says there is a lot of room at the bottom. Right? Anyways, okay, so, but I'm going to talk about, if you look at the human history, there have been very interesting inflection points. And most of you would have, recollect from your mathematical days that, this kind of a curve which is there, right? Where, the maxima changes, right, is called the inflection point, right? So one of the inflection points earliest was the printing machine, right? It just revolutionized the human civilization, right? Why? Because the information replication, sharing and archiving, right, underwent a phenomenal change, right? And the information became accessible to a large number of people, right? But it still was, kind of in the books, in the libraries, people bought it and so on and so forth. So the access was not that universal, right? And then the next inflection point was electricity. Imagine if we take out electricity from the world today, right? Like we were in Stone Ages, I guess, right? So electricity was another inflection point, right? There is a very interesting, story on electricity. We can do a complete 1-hour session on that itself. But, the replacement of the human physical labor started to happen, right? And that led to the first industrial revolution, right? Where the human labor started to get replaced by the machines, right? And UK, for example, had factories, especially textile factories, where they started to do round-the-clock production and using basically these electrical looms and so on and so forth. Okay? And then came telecommunication, right? So telecommunication was a revolutionary thing. It was another inflection point. And fast forward, computers came there, right? So computers, and the interconnectedness of the computer, which led to the internet, was another inflection point. I mean, likes of the recall year 2000, and the period around that, there were so many dot-coms coming up with super duper valuations, right? And that led to, by the way, dot-com burst, right? But it was very good for India. Why? Because a lot of people got jobs, a lot of people went to US, right? And that was the major shifting point, right, for the digital transformation, what we call it as, for the enterprises, right? Because internet kept on growing actually. And of course, mobile changed the paradigm altogether, right? Which, by the way, produced the first $1 trillion company, and that was Apple, right? In the history of mankind, the company with a market capitalization of $1 trillion became possible because of the advancement technologies and because of the mobile phones, right? Even today, they are, I think, the most valued. They are almost touching 3 trillion now, right? Okay. And then, the compute went to a altogether different level actually, right? So we had these all compute, devices, the computers fitted into a, place called data center, right? And the access of that was made available to everybody, okay? Now, with the access available, the complex algorithm, because digitization was happening at a very rapid pace, even now it is happening, to process that and to have algorithms which can learn from the patterns, right, that existed in the data and then do things on its own, which is what, in what engineering policy, artificial intelligence, that started to become possible. Of course, there were academic research in the algorithms also. So there were quite novel things at the algorithms level also which were done. And I think most notable was the Attention is All You Need paper by Vaswani and team at Google, and that brought the parallel computation into the AI ML space, and which by the way got picked up by a lot of leading ventures, for example OpenAI and so on and so forth, which started to produce results at a very faster pace. So to sum it up, basically, we had kind of these different industrial revolutions: 1.2, 2.2, 3.2, 4.0. I mean, they could be blurred, overlapping, and so on. But the key point is, from mechanical production, equipment driven by water and steam, we move to mass production by use of electrical energy. We move to automation by use of IT and computers, and then we are moving into digitization based on cyber physical system, right? And the tooling along the way has been changing. All right, and what we are talking about now is the generative AI. And there are two broad categories of generative AI. The one that we experience in our day-to-day life, if you have, for example, Apple, and you're using Siri, right? That's a artificial narrow intelligence, right? That it doesn't have capability which are equivalent to that of human beings. I mean, more equivalent to that. Or, for example, if you have Alexa at your home, right? So these are kind of they have artificial intelligence, but they are in the domain of what we call as artificial narrow intelligence. On the other hand, the advances are being made where these algorithms or the systems can do thinking and process information and produce output which is more equivalent to that of human. In fact, better than that of humans actually, right? Because computers are in a way in certain tasks better than humans anyways, right? So, for example, if I have to ask you to find a mean of numbers added from 1 to, let's say, 1 million, so it will take you some time to process it. But if you have a machine, it will do it. And if you have generative AI, you just have to speak to it and it will give you an answer. It's that crazy, I think. So that is which is kind of from ANI we are moving to AGI space. Okay? And then when this kind of intelligence get ported to or move to robots, right? So robot is a highly evolving field actually, right? People might be blindsided, but just wait for a few years, and it is going to be amazing actually. The kind of different kind of robots that are being experimented right now. If you see on the top, these are two robots. I think bought Atlas, and I've forgotten the name of the other. It's from a company called Boston Dynamics, right? So one is more of an equivalent of a dog actually, right? And another is more human-like. But the one below that you see, right? One doing the Surya Namaskar, right? That's the robot called Optimus from a company called Tesla, which is again a Elon Musk company, right? And this, when we have AGI ported to these mechanical robots, they will be equivalent of humans actually, which is humanoids. And with the silicon, again, silicon has been very transformational in transforming Apple, right? When they came up with their fancy Macintoshes. Here they are coming up with skins which will be put on top of these robots, which will make them look like humans, right? So there was a robot exhibition that happened, I think, in Shanghai a few months back, and it was crazy to see the demos actually. All right, so just to again sum up the whole generation Gen AI space, we have path-breaking research that has happened, right, in the fundamental areas of text. How many of you have used ChatGPT? Wow, great. All right, so that's text-based, generative AI. Imaging, right? How many of you have used DALL-E? Stable Diffusion? Okay, Adobe Firefly? Great, awesome. So that's again generative AI, right? And then they are venturing into areas of video, audio, and the next level is going to be the emotion prompting. So you've seen these are all text prompting basically. But there is, I read some research paper, there's an immense research that is happening on emotion prompting. Now, you're sitting in front of a camera and you're talking to ChatGPT, it can express, like why are you feeling upset about asking this question, or it can question you back. And when that technology goes on top of humanoids, it's going to be a very crazy world, right? Okay. So in case of applications, we have conversational bots. So the customer support has been totally transformed, right? The humans are being replaced, right, by these very smart bots. But there is a silver lining that sometimes people don't want to interact with the machines. They want a human to be on the other side. So then what they do is that they give an AI-based tool to these human call center people to take the help of that and then answer to the customers, right? So, so that's a silver lining. A lot of creative content. If you look at the advertisement industry, or we'll be surprised to see the media and entertainment, right? This is going to be totally dominated by AI-created content, actually, right? Of late, I just read a couple of days back. There are now digital influencers, like they're not human beings, right? They are digital pieces who are earning money, right, for their creators. Okay. Molecular research. I'll share a very interesting story. So I think it happened in MIT. So whenever there is a disease causing bacteria, right, they look for medicine for it. Okay, they will find a molecule which treats that bacterial disease. So it's a long process because what kind of molecular structure will work on a given bacteria. So it's a painstaking process. But with generative AI and AI processing, what they do is they feed them all kind of bacterial information, all kind of molecular information which has worked in the past and which has not worked. And when they basically give information related to the new bacteria, it kind of uses generative AI algorithms to suggest what kind of a molecule would work better for it. So the research that used to take 3 months, it is reduced to few days, right? And if you know the game of chess, which was, it took 10 years for IBM Deep Blue to defeat human beings, there was a company called DeepMind from Google, right? They came up with a product called AlphaGo, right? Now, long years back, in Richard Feynman's book, he wrote, it will be great to see machines, beat humans in the game of Go. And AlphaGo, defeated human beings within few months of training. But it learned from the patterns of the human beings' plays. Then what they did was, they didn't have any human play with it. They made AlphaGo play with its other counterpart AlphaGo, but just telling them the rules of the game. And it took few hours for it to learn and master and defeat the human beings. That is the power of AI, which is there. So they came up with a product called AlphaFold, right, later on, which is used in molecular research a lot, right? So robotics, humanoids, digital twins, we are already knowing. Digital humans are going to be pretty much used. Imagine you log on to Amazon and there's a wonderful digital human which you like. I don't know, maybe any of your favorite stars which is there. They come and greet you, right, and they tell what you want to buy today. Last time you bought that book, how was it? Well, no, it was not good. No, there's another one which is good, right? Your daughter's birthday is coming. Do you want to buy a gift now? So it will be that level of interaction which will start to happen. Okay. And if you look at from functional areas point, HR, engineering, manufacturing, sales, finance, there are huge gaps, right? There are a lot of data that is getting generated. So you have to identify use cases and start moving there. And then companies like OpenAI, Google, MS Azure, IBM Watson, Unique, Mosaic, etc., right? They are coming up with these services, right, which are available through public cloud vendors. So you don't have to go into fundamental research. You don't have to basically build foundational models, right? This tech is out there, right? It's pretty much like compute is there. You just log into AWS and start using it. You don't have to go to a market to buy a computer now. Okay. So I came up with this kind of a canvas. There's a LinkedIn link also. I think in the interest of time, I'll skip this. But this is an exercise, and you can go through this article, which will help you to kind of identify use cases, and then you can kind of work on those. Okay. All right. So what's next? In 2024, sorry, I'm definitely looking forward to GPT-5. Right? There has been a lot of drama going on, but I think they're hinting at AGI, right? So GPT-5 will have, they would have moved from ANI domain to AGI space. Looks like that, right? But let's see what happens. Optimus, I'm definitely looking forward to a better version of it, right? We will see more new molecules. So cures of diseases, their research will be much faster actually. So we will see some cures of diseases in the next year. Humanoid 0.01 I think we'll start to see in the industry, right? Digital humans will gain lot of traction in the coming year, lot of traction. Okay. All right. So again, quickly, so McKinsey report says AI value creation by 2030 going to be around 13 trillion. Around 400 and 800 million jobs will be replaced. They will be replaced, right? But the good point is, job created by 2030 would be around 555 to 890 million, right? So there will be a lot of new jobs that will get created. NASSCOM report says cloud technology will account for 8% of India's GDP by 2026, potential to add 310 to 380 billion to the country's GDP by 2026, along the way creating 14 million jobs. Top UN economist, India is currently bright spot in the world economy and is on a strong footing, projected to grow around 6.7% according to this economist, right? If we look at the economy size, we are aiming to be a $7 to $8 trillion economy by 2030, right? Almost, more than double of what we are right now, okay? User base, if you look at, we have a population of around 1.4 billion people, right? India is one of the largest markets in the world at the moment, okay? 700 million people have internet, access, right? And it will go to 900 by 2025, okay? Digital payment, India has topped the list in the global payment and recorded 89.5 million transactions in 2022. 46% of the global real-time payments are accounted from India, okay? Startup ecosystem. India is now home to 25,000 to 27,000 startups. Many are, we have seen a lot of unicorns come out of it, making India the world's third largest tech startup ecosystem according to NASSCOM report. AI software market is growing at a CAGR of around 18%, and I think it will grow more, right? So what is the opportunity that we have? The opportunity that we have is that India has to ride this new way of tech, right? We did very well in cloud and earlier waves, but this is a new wave and we cannot afford to miss it, right? So we are again at an inflection point, right? This is a huge opportunity and India's time again. So all the best, let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ganesh, for giving us the future of how Gen AI and technology will shape the future. I would like to call Amita Dukli, ma'am, to facilitate Ganesh, sir, for the goodie.